Hello and welcome back. I am your host, GeneralTezla, and today we're going to be streaming some more Avengers. So get ready for some Wakanda. What's up, Mark?
Huh?
Said hello, Mark. My game says Marvel, so that's a good sign.
There we go.
Alright. Press X to play.
Oh man. Dude, I got some beef jerky from Sam's when I went grocery shopping.
Yeah.
On Wednesday. I freaking love beef jerky, but it always goes by so quick. Like, I got a huge bag, and it's already, like, almost done.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
Dude, my Avengers look so cool. I've got Iron Man in his in-game.
Endgame?
Thor in his in-game. Black Panther is just awesome in the original one that he comes in. I still have Hulk in the suit and tie.
Nice.
I have what's her face, the main protagonist in the first story.
Miss Marvel?
Yeah, I have Miss Marvel, and she's in the obsidian gear that I got as part of buying like the better edition, which honestly wasn't like the best trade-off, but it's alright, I guess. I'm a little disappointed with the prize for that, but it's whatever. And then I have Captain America in his like World War II suit, which I really like. Black Widow in her all white in game, and then Hawkeye and Kate Bishop are in this like blue kind of sci-fi looking suits, which I really like.
Nice.
I don't know, I'm very happy with my collection of suits.
Yeah, but honestly, I bought like quite a few suits, just because I want them to look cool on the like home screen.
That's basically my determining factor for which suit they're wearing. Is like, oh, this looks really good on the home screen.
Yeah, dude, you should see the suit I got for Miss Marvel. I got it because it's probably her coolest suit in my opinion. But let me see if I can.
I really want to get like,
I
want to look over some of the Black Panther suits. I wasn't happy with any of the like legendary or epic or whichever one the highest they have available for him. I wasn't happy with any of them.
Yeah.
Like none of them looked like something I wanted.
Yeah, same. I'm hoping they release an MCU outfit for him soon.
Or at least give him something like really awesome, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. Dude, look at Miss Marvel's future Marvel suit.
Okay. Give me just a second. I'm gonna real quick add you to my game.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Wakanda. I'm guessing from what I can tell, it seems like this is gonna be a pretty short playthrough. Like I think I'm 30% through just from the first mission.
Yeah.
Like pretty short.
Yeah, it's not like
story.
Yeah, it feels. I went through it and it doesn't feel too short. I was worried it would feel like way too short. So I don't think it feels too short, but it definitely doesn't feel long in any way. I feel like it could have been a little bit longer. It's probably the longest of all the DLCs.
Yeah.
But not by much.
Gotcha. Dude.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm kind of bummed about is that it's hard to see. It's like when you look at Iron Man in this game, and it's like he's not Robert Downey Jr. Like you look at Black Panther, and you're like, he's not Black Panther.
I recognize the Avengers as
Yeah.
You know, and so when I see him, it's like, he's not. Like when you see his face.
I hope we do you justice.
Yeah, I mean that's not as much of an issue for me because I knew a lot of these characters before the MCU and saw them in like other renditions.
That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like they're
I am not accepting
pretty iconic at this point. Like the actors that played the characters. Like on screen, I don't know that I can imagine anyone else but Chris Evans playing Cap. Like it's just
I am not just a king.
I can't really see it.
I am the Black Panther.
Yeah, I gotcha. See, for me, it's hard, and that's the thing is when I see these cinematics, that's where I kind of run into the issue. Is it's mostly just like, oh, this is not. I don't know. It's just not the same.
They do a good.
Avengers.
Yeah, they do a good job though of setting a precedent of like this takes inspiration from not just the movies but also heavily from the comics, and like the world that they create is not the same as the movies, and so that helps a little bit when you're like, okay, this is their own
You cannot handle
universe.
those forces alone.
That's fair.
I love that.
Impossible.
But yeah, you check out Future Marvel for Miss Marvel. I think you'll really like
It is
that suit.
about time the Avengers
I will.
see what the Black Panther
I didn't even
is
know it
truly
existed,
capable of.
but
Did you
once
watch
I saw it, I
the?
was like,
Did you watch the What If, like Marvel What If, show
Uh-huh.
like the first episode that came out, or?
yeah, I've seen both.
Okay, I was about to say I didn't know if you saw the second one either.
Second one's much better than the first one.
Gotcha.
The first one was okay.
Are they
I wasn't a big
connected,
fan
or
of
are
it.
they just individual stories?
So they're not connected in the sense like they're in the same universe or the same storyline, but they're connected in the sense that it's all kind of like you're almost seeing this show through the perspective of the watcher.
Okay.
So you're seeing like these different multiverses and these different scenarios of like what would happen if this I don't know, have you seen it?
I haven't, so yeah, don't
Okay, I
spoil
won't give
anything
any
yet.
spoilers. Yeah.
I really like the concept, and I know it was part of a comic series. Also, I sent you an invite.
Yeah, I got it.
I know it was part of like there was a comic series that came out. Because I actually read some of those comics and thought they were pretty cool. But I haven't seen, I haven't actually seen the show yet, and I didn't know how, because the comics were more just like alternate universes essentially, like what if this happened and what if that happened differently, or what
Yeah,
if so and so.
That's basically the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, I really like the new UI. I don't know what your feelings are on it, but I really enjoy it.
I think it's a step up for sure.
It's taking me a second to get
Oh.
used to where everything is.
Yeah. There's a few things about it that probably need to be worked out, but it's definitely a step up in the right direction. Like having everything for your character, including like your loadout, and then possibly having future loadouts, is like way more organized, way more just kind of clean.
Yeah.
The one of the issues I have though is the way they laid out gear. It just one sec, let this cutscene play.
If our defenses are truly compromised, it will be a dangerous trek.
Oh, dude.
No matter. I welcome the challenge.
So I finished the story, and the last boss fight is probably the best boss fight they have in the game, so far.
Okay.
So
Wait, let me see your you got a little cape.
yes, sir.
Noi. Like that. It's funny. Wait, could you not play as a different character? Did you have to be Black Panther, or do you just want to be Black Panther?
No, I just want to because
Okay.
he's fun and I'm still leveling him
Dude.
up. So
I really want to max him out now. Like after just the short time I've used him, he's only level 5 right now. I haven't actually added any abilities or any skills or anything, and I already really enjoy playing as him.
oh, I'm for sure maxing him out. Like there's no doubt.
I feel like they don't really need our help. Yeah. And they're about to prove that. Okay, I thought it was gonna have us help fight. I was like, wait, they don't need us. Like, I've seen them fight. Wakanda, like the Wakandan like royal guard is basically the Avengers and without superpowers.
It would be my honor.
Yeah, I mean they're warriors for sure.
Yeah. But like, I almost would say they fight as well, if not better, than Captain America sometimes. Like,
yeah, I mean they're very experienced.
let me put it this way: if you put, if you put like Captain America, Black Widow, who else? What was the other person I was thinking? If you put Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, up against like some Wakandan like royal guards, I feel like it would actually be an even match.
Yeah, if we're talking pure combat,
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, I mean
I
Captain America without a shield, of course, because I feel like that kind of gives him, well, or with the shield, because they have spears. Forget that.
yeah, I mean I would still back the Avengers just because
Yeah.
their resume of like who they fought is insane.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that it would be a fair fight, like, or a more even fight at least.
Oh yeah, I mean they could still hold their own for sure.
Yeah. And that's mostly what I'm suggesting with that comparison. Not necessarily that the Avengers would lose, but that I think there would be it wouldn't, like, it would at least feel more even than maybe like assumed if you just said, oh, the Avengers versus, oh shoot, the Avengers versus what was I saying? It, like when you hear Avengers versus someone who's not an Avenger,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound super even, but then I feel like the Wakandan like royal guard could pretty much hold their own against the Avengers.
Dude, by the way, hold triangle to attack like an enemy, and you'll see one of his moves. I didn't realize he starts out with this move, but it's pretty cool.
Oh, nice! I like that. And then you can just tap square.
You can tap square, or you can press triangle to do like a ground slam
Oh my
kind of thing.
gosh! This is,
Or you can evade out of it.
that is like basically my favorite thing ever.
Oh yeah, I mean I kind of like, what the frick? That's weird. I feel like they do this with every character. Every character, their combat, like for every DLC, just gets better and better as they release. Like Kate's was really fun and like really dope, and
Oh my gosh!
I mean, some people might not like Hawkeye more, but I thought Hawkeye's combat is pretty dope, and he has a lot of cool tricks. And then now Black Panther is just like probably has the best combat of any hero in the game.
I would agree with that. He is probably my the most fun, at least so far. In the little bit that I've used him, I kind of enjoy using him more than any of the others that I've used.
Yeah, and it kind of is a little bit like annoying as a Hulk main, because I'm like, what the frick? Like, why is he so fun to use? They're making me like re-question my who I'm gonna main.
Dude, I might completely give up on, like, I'm not gonna really give up on Thor because I already have him maxed out. But I'm definitely might start maining Black Panther,
Black Panther, yeah.
and that's a lot because
Yeah.
part of the reason like I didn't main anyone else is because I really wanted a flyer, but
Right.
he makes like being a flyer not seem that important anymore.
Yeah. I for sure though when Doctor Strange comes out, I will for sure be a Doctor Strange main. Like Hulk will definitely still be another main that I use, like an alternate. But
Oh my gosh, I'm taking.
I just
I
as
died
much as
so
I
quick.
love yeah, as much as I love Hulk, I just feel like they don't do him justice in this game, and it kind of makes me sad. Look, check out this artifact. Did it work? I don't know if it worked.
What is hitting me that keeps killing me almost instantly?
I don't know.
I'm almost getting like insta killed every so often, and it's ridiculous. Oh my gosh, again!
Yeah, they might just be a little too high level.
Yeah, I mean my guy's level 5, and I think they're like 16.
Oh yeah. What the frick? But yeah, Doctor Strange is another favorite character of mine, so I probably will become a Doctor Strange main when he comes out.
Yeah, I get that. I'm also really excited for whenever they decide to actually add Spider-Man to the game.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man's gonna be sick.
A tower has been hacked.
I
The
want.
only thing I'm worried about is traversal.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're gonna, like, because one of the things that made the Spider-Man game really good was the webs and everything.
Right.
And I'm not sure how they're gonna do that in a way that's not gonna just feel like it's cheating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, how do you act? Like, how do you get this chest up here?
Which chest? What are you talking
At
about?
the top of the tower.
Oh, you gotta climb these platforms.
I did, and it was locked up.
Oh, what do you mean?
Like there was a wall around it. Is it not there anymore?
No.
Oh, it's gone. I guess maybe because we were in combat.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
If they're I may tag team like Doctor Strange and Hulk as mains if they like do some quality of life updates for them, because like right now I absolutely hate Hulk's heavy sprint attack.
Which
Where he
one's?
just like basically where he belly flops.
Oh yeah. Why don't you like that one?
It's useless and it just looks terrible. Like it just does not look like any sort of move you should be using in combat, you know?
That's fair. I mean, it definitely. One of the annoying things about it, I remember when I was using it, was just the fact that like he, when you did use it, he would, it felt like he would jump on his stomach and then just not like be super vulnerable for a second.
Yeah.
Because you had to sit there and wait for him to get back up and everything. It wasn't like a slam and then, you know, like he slammed down and then
Right.
got back up or like one continuous motion.
Right.
Okay, I keep messing
Alright.
this jump up. Wait, I wanted
There we
to
go.
get up there. I wanted to just try to get up there. Because I kept.
Oh, the other.
Oh, go ahead.
Mhm.
I kept going for it and then not being able to make it because I was jumping on the launch, and I think it was causing it not to go as high.
Yeah. Yeah, the another thing I was thinking
There we
about,
go. I did it.
speaking
I proved I could do it.
of launch pads, I was thinking about this earlier, and I was like, there's no. It's so dumb that they even have launch pads in this game. The fact that you need launch pads for like a superhero game is kind of ridiculous. Like it just.
I may have put a timer on it
It's
in
just
case you
a
get to call.
sign that the traversal is not good.
I remember you saying
You know,
I was not
Yeah, that's a valid
like
point.
you
If
you
that were
shouldn't
true,
need
you would not even know
boost
about it.
pads to get
I was not
around the
making it
map
easy for
as
you.
a superhero.
I don't mind them that much, but I also get where you're coming from with it.
Well, just the fact that as Hulk, I can't jump up to grab like a lot of ledges.
Hulk should 100% be able to jump. Like, I'll definitely agree with that. Like, there's no reason Hulk should not be able to jump that full distance when.
Well, yeah, I mean even just I don't know, just the fact that traversal is so like clunky and awkward in this game that you need boost pads to get around the map just to me just makes no sense.
I'll say this. I think some characters, like, it makes a little bit of sense, like Black Widow. Like, there's no way she could jump that distance, and so it makes sense why boost pads would be kind of a thing. But with characters like Hulk, I've agreed with you before. Like, he needs to be able to jump higher. Like, if you have flyers in this
Yeah.
game, there's no reason Hulk shouldn't be able to jump almost as high as a flyer. Like, he freaking jumps off of a skyscraper across to another skyscraper, or jumps up halfway a sky. Like, he jumps halfway up a skyscraper in the movies. Why can't he do anything even remotely close to that in this game?
Well, Hulk can clear skyscrapers.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Like,
mean,
there's-
the guy can jump across a continent. Like it doesn't make any sense in this game that he can't even jump up to a 5-foot wall. Like, what?
yeah.
That was impressive.
Thank you.
No,
Like,
I
and
think his jump is way underwhelming for what it should be.
But also, I feel like heroes like Black Panther and Black Widow, and you know, whoever else in this game, should be able to traverse in a way that's not clunky and awkward because they're superheroes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense that they need boost pads. You know, they should be able to like run up walls and you know, jump from place to place and you know, at least jump like pretty high, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, but I feel like Black Panther as a whole has a pretty solid jump. Plus his wall climb. The one thing I hate that I've noticed about his wall climb that I don't enjoy is it feels very inconsistent. Like, I feel like sometimes I can grab a wall, sometimes I can't, and there's no like obvious way to tell which it is, you know?
Not at all.
Right.
Like, there's no clear way to know, hey, I can climb this wall or not. At least it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, or wall run.
Yeah. Like, I feel like he should basically be able to climb any wall that's not gonna break the game by letting
Yeah,
you
I
climb
agree.
out of the map. But even then, they have a
Right.
ceiling for flyers. Like, why can't that be the same for Black Panther?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. I completely agree with you when it comes to the traversal in this game is subpar at best.
Oh yeah.
The
You know
combat
what's kinda-
is improving with each character, like you said earlier. But
Yeah, I mean, I think the combat's pretty great. Like, that's one thing that they've done really well. I just think there needs to be a better dynamic in combat between enemies and heroes,
They must have stolen
so that the
some oil.
heroes
I will track
are
the
kind of
ones who
forced
use-
to be more
shut them out of
creative
the
with how they
network.
fight, and not just dodging everything and you know, and just bashing everything with their their attacks. You know, like it needs to be. And there needs to be more creativity in combat and dynamics, you know,
Yeah. No, I hear
and
you.
more things that require teamwork too. Um, I was thinking about this the other day though, especially like I've noticed this before, but especially with the Black Panther DLC, they have Crystal Dynamics has a tendency to implement um,
I'm having
to
trouble
implement
getting
different mechanics
Apologies for the
that they're going to
turbulence, Your
use in the
Highness.
future.
I'm still familiarizing
So
myself with your
what I mean by
network.
that is, and also like not only implementing mechanics they're going to use in the future, but also
Ulysses Claw.
utilizing
Your
mechanics from heroes or villains in other places in the game. Right, so if you notice, there's those robots with the lasers, the ones that spin around in game. You know which one I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, the really annoying
I know
ones.
Yeah, if you notice, there it's basically the same thing Iron Man
bad. If Claw gets
does.
full access to the
Like
network,
his lasers
it
operate
means
the same kind of way.
communications. Or
Huh.
worse,
Um,
turn all our
I
technology
hadn't
And
noticed
also-
that until till you pointed it out just now.
yeah, so there's things like that where they reuse those things because you know it's obviously already in the game, so they're just reusing something that's already in the game, like repurposing it. I don't want to say reusing because a lot of that's might have a lot of like negative implications in this
Yeah,
game.
like they're not
for some
putting the
people.
actual energy in to make it better, but they're just
Right, but
reusing.
I think it's actually smart, you know, like they're reusing things that they already have in creative ways, you know, in combat at least, and not wasting it in combat. Well, if you notice, um, Black Panther is able to hold on to walls. And I was thinking about it and I was like, that's interesting that they added that for Black Panther because Spider-Man is obviously coming by the end of the year probably, so they're already setting the game up so that there's already mechanics that Spider-Man is going to use already in the game. So they know they work. And not only that, if you notice, have you fought any of these big spiders yet?
I don't think so. I mean, have we run into them so far in this? Like what we've done already?
I don't think so. I can't remember if at this point in the story. I don't think we do. But anyways, there's a move that these big spiders will do where they shoot out a web straight at you, like it's an unblockable move. They shoot out a web straight at you and pull you towards them. And I was thinking about it and I was like, wait, that's basically setting up like I have a really strong feeling that Spider-Man is going to do a move similar to that.
It's very observant of you.
They're setting. Yeah. It's just something I noticed because you don't always, especially like in games where, in games where you have like combat between enemies, you don't always notice enemies having the same move sets or mechanics as the heroes or whatever character you're playing. But in this one, you do notice that sometimes, and I feel like it's noticeable, you know, if you look for it. And so I was just thinking about that, and I was like, that's kind of interesting. I like it though. Like I like the idea of fighting enemies that use your own moves against you. You know, that's kind of fun to think about.
Yeah, it's also I think it's very interesting. It's a great thing to pay attention to for what they're gonna do in the future.
Right.
And probably gives a little bit of insight into who they're planning to release next.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I don't know that we're gonna get a hero before Spider-Man, but I think we will at least, if I think there's a possibility, I should say, that we might get one alongside.
Oh, I went the wrong way.
Spider-Man.
Whoops.
But yeah, I mean, Spider-Man for sure is most likely the next hero that's coming out. So just noticing in game the different mechanics that are already set up for him is just kind of interesting.
Yeah. No, I think that's some really good insight. Definitely something I did not specifically notice, and not convinced I would have noticed if you hadn't pointed it out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you read that somewhere, or was that just something you kind of noticed on your own?
No, that's just something I noticed.
Noise. Have you played other Crystal Dynamic games that you know, like that you've noticed this in?
Not that I know of. I don't. To be honest, I don't really know what kind of games they made. I know they made Tomb Raider, but I never played that.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure exactly what games they've made other than Tomb Raider. I'm sure that I've played other games they've made. I just don't know of any off the top of my head.
Right, same, yeah. Same. But yeah, I think that's if I were a dev, I think I would probably do that too, you know, because reusing, I feel like a lot of people think, oh, you know, reusing stuff as a dev is lazy, or, you know, this or that, and it's like, it's really not.
I don't know if lazy is,
you know,
really even fair. Like, I feel like it's, not saying you're saying that, but just when like, I feel like that's not really fair, because in most fields we reuse things, even in creative fields. Like, you learn a trick and you use it over and over again. You're not gonna, you know, and so
especially if it works.
Yeah.
You know, if it works, reuse it.
And the thing is, like, always improve. Like, don't, like, you know, learn a trick and never improve on the like what you're doing. But yeah, if you have something that works, like, use it and then make it better. Like, if you can.
Exactly.
It's no different
like
than. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's like the adage, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Well, and like, one of the things too to keep in mind is, like, in a sense, like, they reuse tricks and stuff that they have come up with all the time. It's one of the things I was looking at for classical RTX, and like the way RTX is replacing certain tricks, that they were able to basically emulate RTX ray tracing systems long before you know it even existed, because they had like tricks that they used that you know, or like the whole thing we talked about Tuesday, where devs would in an engine that didn't have a functioning vehicle system, they would add in you know, use NPCs to move vehicles around as hats, because that was what the engine, like, that's how they had to do it with that particular engine they were using.
Right.
And those are, I feel like, in a sense, that's no different than reusing certain, you know, methods within the, I mean, heck, reusing an engine alone is the same kind of concept as reusing, you know, certain systems that take place in individual games. It's just less noticeable. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I think a lot of people too find that they're like, oh, I get more attention if I complain, so they find reasons to complain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you complain on the internet, then you're gonna get a lot more attention than if you're someone who's like, yeah, this is exactly what I want.
Right.
I don't know. It's no different than like the news, where it's like the news, like, if you complain about what's going on or you always point out the negatives, then you're going to be the one people don't always want to listen to, like, a bunch of positives. I don't necessarily know why. I just know that it seems to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably part of it is probably that there's fair things to criticize, and so there's some things that need to be talked about, but then people don't always know how to talk about them in ways that are not only negative, you know, like they only know how to talk about it in ways that just trash the thing or, you know, overly criticize it
Yeah.
instead of being you know, being talking about it critically, but also acknowledging that it's, you know, there are good things a lot of the times. That's one of that was one of my issues with this game, is actually that they didn't seem to want I don't know what the issue was. I thought maybe, you know, oh, they're not in studio, so maybe all the devs don't have access to the same stuff. You know, like for example, the devs that are working on combat and traversal and multiplayer stuff, maybe they don't have access to the same single player content that was created. You know, and maybe that's why they're not able to reuse some of the content from the campaign. But that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only explanation that makes sense to me, because it's like, it made no sense to me. Like, why would you not reuse, like, maps and set pieces from the campaign that were so obviously so much better than what we got for the multiplayer content right now?
Yeah.
So much, you know, more interesting and more fun. It's like, why didn't you reuse that stuff from the campaign that worked and was made, excuse me, really well? You know, why is it that you just stuck with the maps that you did that are not as creative and not as interesting, you know? So that didn't make any sense to me.
I sent the Talon jet and a
Yeah,
weapon
no,
team
and that's
on
one of
their
the things
way.
too.
Law has left me completely blind from them.
There definitely seemed to be some sort of like it almost felt like the story version of this game was a completely different game than the actual than the multiplayer. Like it was like not a different game, but like like almost like they were something that was very like a completely different team built them or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whether it was that they didn't have access or they literally just didn't have the same team, I don't know. I agree in that it felt like there was a disconnect between the story and the multiplayer.
Yeah.
And I know we're not the only ones who have thought that, because it was a big issue in the beginning. People were like, the story is great, and then once you get past the story, it's not great. It sucks.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I do want to throw this out there. I don't know if you saw it, but when we were fighting a second ago, I was really enjoying that like tackle feature. I felt like we did so much damage so quick with that.
The pounce, yeah, it's so fun. Yeah, I mean, I thought the same. I still kind of think the same thing, and that's why I said like maybe they don't have access to the same.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean my assumption has always been like, because nothing else makes sense to me, but
yeah. Well, it's almost
it had
like
to have been two different teams.
It felt a lot like you took the exact same engine, the exact same game design, but then they added, like they took the same engine, the same game design, but two different groups constructed it and ended up what the heck is going on? And ended up with like similar but very different results.
Yeah.
I don't know. It definitely, like, I would say it doesn't necessarily affect the way the gameplay feels, but it affects like what like the quality of at least the early on stuff. Like I would say the multiplayer is getting significantly better. But it's had a long ways to come since launch. Like,
Oh, for sure.
they started out with not very much there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's kind of why. That's kind of why I really hope that they get back to working in the studio, because, I mean, I feel like if they're working in the studio, then and they have access and are able to like communicate and give information more easily, it's gonna make it so that the multiplayer content is gonna start. The multiplayer content is gonna start capitalizing on what the game did well much quicker than it is now, you know, which feels like it's taking forever.
No.
By the way, I think this might be the horde mode.
This right here?
I think, yeah, I'm not totally sure because I haven't actually played the drop zones that are called the horde mode. I could be wrong, but if you notice, this is very different than the other game modes we played, and it's pretty fun actually. Like, so there's these little circles with the Black Panther symbol.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out
turrets.
what's going. Oh, okay.
So if you stand on them, you will, like, the turrets will go online and start firing at the enemies, and then if you're getting overwhelmed, you can set off this EMP up here in the middle, and it'll like disable all the enemies.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And yeah, it's really interesting. So it's kind of like a, you know, here, I'll set it off right now so you can see. It kind of like stuns all of them and sets off an EMP blast.
Ah. Do we have a limited number of times we can do that?
Yeah, I think you can only do it once per like map, per round or whatever. But yeah, they keep sending out waves of enemies until you reach 100%. And every time you set off the EMP, it actually, I believe it resets the turrets as well. Your turrets go offline, but I could be wrong.
These lightning dudes who can target you are kind of annoying because I feel like the only way to escape their shot is by completely by dodging right at the last second.
Yeah, you have to perfect dodge it.
Plus they do that
almost.
spin move that I just died from. That does so much damage. I don't know. They're pretty intense.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the issue actually that I have with the combat, is that there's so many just annoying, like, stupid attacks that you can't even dodge half the time, no matter, like, you just don't know when to dodge, you know? Like, there's almost no perfect time to dodge certain attacks because they're just gonna hit you anyways, or the timing of them is totally different than other attacks, and it just makes it to where you're constantly dodging all the time, and it kind of takes you out of the combat, you know, when it's like,
Well, this is
oh
cool.
no, here's another attack that is probably gonna hit me anyways, even if I dodge it.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. It definitely takes away from I wouldn't say the combat's terrible. I would say that does take away from the combat. Ugh.
Yeah, and the issue is too, and you'll see whenever we get to play the OLT. The OLT is like basically those annoying parts of the combat, like times 10, like, you know, which it is more challenging, but I feel like not in the way that you necessarily is ideal. It's just more annoying than anything. And an issue too is like, another issue that I have with this that really takes you out of the experience, in my opinion, is all the stun damage.
Yes,
All the
no,
stuff
the
that,
stun
like-
damage is maybe my least favorite. Is probably my least favorite part of combat in this game.
Yeah. Like, it just makes no sense that you're constantly getting stunned by, like, every little attack and it knocks you back. And it,
There's
like,
no
takes you
reason that
out of the
Hulk should
combat.
ever be stunned by half the things that he does. Like, like
Exactly.
90% of the things that stun him should not stun him.
Right.
He's supposed to be an adrenaline-filled rage monster that's destroying as many enemies as like anything that walks in between him and where he's going. And half the time
Right.
he's just stopping because he got hit by like a taser, basically.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of my issue with Hulk, you know, is he just gets stunned by everything, and he's twice as big as all the other characters, so it's so easy for enemies to target him. You know,
Yeah.
like you can't get away from that. I just feel like it doesn't make sense that the only options for combat are either dodge or get stunned, you know? Like, in my opinion, the only attacks that should stun you are red attacks, and every other attack should just either do damage or, you know, I don't even know, like, yeah, just do damage. Like, white and yellow attacks, I feel like should just do damage. They shouldn't stun you. 'Cause it just is so annoying to have to dodge everything all the time. And red attacks, I feel like, should not be like spammed, you know, like you shouldn't get targeted by like 3 different red attacks in a row.
Yeah, or some enemies that only red attack, and it's like, this is not fun to fight because I just basically get hit no matter what happens.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, you can use pounce on the big exobots. Can you wait, can you see me? Look. Dang it.
Oh, I
it
saw
kicked
it.
me off.
It was like at
Good.
the edge of my screen, but I did see it. No! No! No!
Yes, you can do it on these big exos.
Yeah. No,
which is
it
pretty
looks
dope.
really cool. That's probably like one of the better parts of his combat is just being able to pin enemies down. That, and I like the triangle combo where when you want like that slam that you do.
Yeah. I mean, he's got some really cool attacks. I love that his attacks are so acrobatic. I love that about him. And I think, honestly,
His combat
it is
feels
another...
so fluid.
Exactly. And I think it's another sign, like, it's another way in which they're going to use currently existing mechanics for future characters. Like, Spider-Man is probably going to fight similar to Black Panther in that he's going to be much more fluid and, like, you know, acrobatic.
Also, I really like the spear thing. I like pinning enemies down and just beating the crap out of them, I think. Because I'm realizing
yeah.
the things I enjoy in this are mostly just holding enemies into one spot and then destroying them.
Yeah.
I will say that's one of the things that made the campaign really cool, was that you felt really powerful when you were playing the campaign. There wasn't many points in the campaign where you felt like weak or that you could get taken out by most enemies. And a lot of there are a lot of enemies. Now, to be fair, Super Adaptoid is supposed to do that. Like, there's no, like, Hulk should be challenged by Super Adaptoid, but he shouldn't be challenged by like 90% of the enemies.
Right.
And I feel like that goes the same with like some of the other heroes. I don't know. I love, like, I really enjoy playing this game, but there's definitely some rough points that I think they need to kind of iron out a little bit.
For sure, yeah. I mean, it's stuff that, like, it's gonna take some work on the part of the devs, but I just feel like it's so worth it in the long run because it it will make the game a much more, I guess, viable game, you know, for people to play in the long run,
Agreed.
you know?
Yeah, and I know we're being kind of critical of the game, but as a whole, like, I really enjoy it. I wouldn't have, like, I wouldn't still be playing it at this point if I didn't enjoy it.
Right. There's just, it could be so much more enjoyable.
Yes, like there's a, like I see, like with how much time I put into the game, I see lots of areas for improvement, but I also enjoy it enough to keep playing. So, and I keep getting excited about expansions and things that are coming. So like, it's not, you know, it's definitely like criticism, but not to the point that I'm like, oh, I hate this game.
Right.
We were talking about news earlier, and it reminded me of something someone at the bank said today. It was hilarious. This guy was in, or I don't know if it was today, it may have been yesterday, but I was working, and this guy was waiting in the lobby to see one of our counselors, and he he was there for like maybe a minute, and then he walked over to the to where I work, and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go wait in the entryway over by the doors because this news on TV is poison," or something, or like news is poison. And I was like, what? And because he like walked away, I was like, okay, like whatever, like I don't care what you're doing, you can do what you want. And then I looked over at the TV, and you don't know what's on? The weather. the weather was on, and I was like, what are you talking about? This, like,
that's not what I expected.
No, and that's the thing. I was just so confused. I was like, what is this guy talking about?
Fake news. You can't predict the weather.
Bunch of crap. It's a conspiracy.
All this toxic weather prediction.
Like,
that's crazy.
I don't want it to be 60 degrees outside or 80 degrees outside.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. You can't trust the weather. They told me it was going to be warm one day, and it was not warm.
I think he was like not paying attention because
prediction is.
It was the local news channel, but the weather they've been talking about the weather for a while, and it was the local news channel, and part of me thinks he must have just seen what channel it was and decided like he was trying to make a point or something. I don't know. It just cracked me up because I was like, I don't know how to react to this. I just turned over to the guy working next to me and I was just like, dude, this did you, like, I asked him if he heard what the guy said, and he was like, yeah, I heard him. And I was like, do you see what's on the TV? He's like, no, what's on TV? And I was like, it's the weather. Like, I don't know what is poison about the weather.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed like a very extreme statement as a whole, and then to find out that the weather was on, I was like, there's no way he knew it was actually on.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to this guy, like, maybe it was a news station, and it just happened to switch over to the weather.
Maybe.
When you looked, but...
it was really poor timing.
That's so funny that... Yeah, it's just so funny that that's what was on after he said that.
I cracked up laughing pretty hard. Every once in a while, there's people that will come in and they'll say something, and I'm just like, I don't know how to take you seriously. There was this guy the other day that was being kind of a jerk to one of my coworkers, and then after he left, like, he threw a huge fit, like acted like a child, and then after he left, the guy behind him walked up and goes, hey, is this the line that we get in to be an a-hole? Like, it was hilarious.
Nice.
It's just one of those things that, like, there's just things people say, and there are things people say, and I'm like, I'm glad I get to interact with people, like different people every day. And then there's things people say, and I'm like, man, I wish I could never talk to a single person again.
Yeah.
So.
You just love it when grown adults act like children.
Yes, but the guy that came after him was just, it cracked me up so much. I laughed so hard because he was just, it was one of the, like, I didn't expect it, and it feels good when someone else recognizes, hey, this person's acting like being a jerk, and you know, it's not just me that thinks that.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah,
I am
that's always
glad you
annoying.
arrived safely.
But yeah, the weather
I
guy
need
was
you
one of my
and your
favorites.
sisters to escort
Like one of my
everyone
favorite
into the
stories
city.
that I've
Our
had while
shield
working
will
in
Yeah.
customer service.
You have something
Right.
to add?
Oh, by the way, they added a new artifact.
Have you
It's
lost
the
faith in me?
Komoyo band or whatever,
Oh,
or
okay.
beads,
How do you get it?
and it summons. I think you have to beat the campaign. I think it just gives it to you once you beat
Okay.
it.
I will bring Croix
But
and his
it
thieves to
lets
justice.
you summon Okoye.
You have my word.
Oh,
in battle.
nice.
Yeah, I love that. I love the summons.
I want. I haven't gotten any summons.
You don't have the Hank Pym artifact?
No, I never. I didn't know how to get it. I don't even know if I can still get it.
Oh, you can. It's not a timed thing.
Okay, I was worried that I
Um,
was like gonna miss out on something. I don't know where, like where you got it, and then I just haven't gotten it since.
It might be in your objectives.
Probably. I have a lot of objectives that aren't completed that I need to actually just go and complete.
Yeah, it's probably in your objectives then.
How am I supposed to talk to this guy?
Let's see. Iconic
A warm
drop.
welcome indeed.
Horde zone, drop zone. I really want to try the Horde
May past
drop
watch
zone
over
just to
us.
see if it is the thing I was thinking.
We could do a round of it real quick. I can't play much longer because it's getting late,
Oh,
and I still
gotcha.
I gotta take a shower. I was at the gym earlier.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get back in some good shape. You know what I really want to do that I haven't done in so long? I want to play like either some solid basketball or like some futsal or soccer or something.
That's what people keep telling me.
Dude, come out
Not that
on
your
Saturday. We're
opinion
playing.
doesn't matter.
We're playing
matters
on the
a lot.
campus.
Of course.
The campus court.
Oh, nice. Who's playing?
Glad to have
Like
you.
anyone that I know, or is it just?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I mean it'll be people that you know. I mean it's the same group chat that we had when
Oh, okay.
we were at SNU. So
I stopped going when I started feeling bad every time I went. Like because there were some people that were showing up that just like, I'm not like the best soccer player ever, and I'm far from being in amazing shape. And there were just like there were a few people that just like I made me feel terrible, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna show up to be treated like crap. So,
yeah.
and I just kind of stopped going. I just didn't enjoy it.
So you claim. Now tell me.
Yeah, I mean
It is what you need, my
it gets pretty like
certain to know. You have not sought my counsel.
the thing with soccer is we're all so used to playing together
We will deal
that
with these foreign
people talk a lot of trash
sweat
there.
and metal.
No, but it wasn't trash talking because I can handle trash talking. I was okay with that. It was like when I would like turn my back and there would be people talking like quietly about me, and I was like, okay, like this is like,
That's annoying.
yeah. And it was just like I'm not gonna sit here and get treated like this. If this is like if you don't want to play, then I won't play, and like so I kind of stopped going as often
Oh, I got you.
until I finally just kind of stopped going.
Who dares disturb
Yeah.
our
Yeah, that's weird.
Komoya network.
Yeah.
Usually it's pretty chill. I don't know who was.
I don't remember.
Fucking
It was when we
trash,
started going to the field over where Johnny was working.
Like the big field?
Yeah, it was back when we started going over there,
Oh,
and there were people who.
I didn't know
would
you
come-
went to that.
Oh, I went several times.
Like when we played outside?
Yeah, on that like soccer field.
Oh, those. I mean, that's not the normal group that we play with.
Well, no, sometimes the
think.
normal group would go. I don't know. It was several of the people that like I recognized from SNU were going out there. Over at the place that was it, I think it was OG&E or wherever he
Yeah,
was working.
Chesapeake.
Yeah, Chesapeake.
Yeah,
Take a Dora Milaje with
that's
you for
weird. I mean,
protection.
Thank you, my king.
I don't know. Normally,
like
people
me.
that we play with are
Yeah, and I mean like
are not that.
It's Shuri.
there were a lot of people that were cool, but I mean also Mark, you're really good, so I wouldn't necessarily expect a lot of like you to experience that. I don't know.
No, but we all talk trash to each other and give each other crap, but I just haven't noticed. I mean, it does happen sometimes, but it's more so just you know,
and
people just being idiots.
it became like a frequent thing. Like I probably like 2 or 3, maybe 4 times that I went, and after that I was just like, I don't want to show up and be treated like crap, and so I stopped going.
I got you.
I don't mind trash talking, because I can like I'm fine with that, especially if it's all in fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been playing sports long enough to be used to that. I feel like you can't play in any sort of social sports without that, without any trash talking.
Yeah.
It's just a natural
Yeah,
part
that's-
of sports.
Yeah, that's part of the fun.
But
But
yeah, but no, what time on Saturday?
we're going at 6, I think. Pretty sure like 6 or 6:30.
Okay, in the evening.
6:30.
In the
Oh wait,
evening,
no,
I'm
wait,
assuming.
hold on, this is yeah, it's 6. Yeah.
Okay. I will let
Yeah.
you know. I can't remember what I have planned for Saturday. I know I work that morning, but that's
Yeah, me too.
all I know. Do you want to
Okay.
try? Do you want to try to play another round, or you want to call it for the evening?
Yeah, I'm down for whatever.
Okay.
I'm down for whatever.
I'm lowering the difficulty because my Black Panther is weak.
I got you.
He is a weak boy.
Dude,
Ugh.
but yeah, I think the thing with the villain sectors and the boss fights in this game are I think they're starting to get to a point like with the last 2 villain sectors and boss fights that they've released, the last few ones really are much more interesting and like dynamic, but they've still got work to do in making it where it's not like it's not annoyingly like there's not all these annoying mechanics that are like you don't see coming and then they just randomly stun you or randomly, hit you with unblockable attacks. Like they still need to iron a lot of that stuff out and give the villains like more interesting attacks and more interesting mechanics, but it's starting to get a lot better. Like yeah, when you get to the last boss fight for this expansion, it's actually pretty fun. It could be a lot better, but it's probably the best fight in the game.
Okay.
Best boss fight.
So
Yeah.
what you're saying is they did a good job with the boss fight in this, like they did when they had Monica.
How else were we going to learn about
Yeah,
the
it's
corruption
definitely
machines?
much better.
Well, that's
than what
good to
they
hear. I expect as much from anything like Square Enix publishes. I know the studio specifically isn't necessarily known for their boss fights, but Square Enix publishes some games that have some very iconic or well-known boss fights. So, I mean, heck, Final Fantasy, half the time, like the only thing you hear about are the boss fights, and so for people
Right.
who don't play
Well,
it,
this
because I
is-
don't play Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Well, Crystal Dynamics is the team that really worked on this. I don't know how many resources Square Enix actually put into helping make this game.
No, I don't know either.
But-
That's what I was saying though. Is like the Crystal Dynamics like isn't necessarily known for their boss fights, but Square Enix
Avengers.
has like a lot of their games that they've published have pretty iconic boss fights. So it surprises me that that wasn't like a more emphasized
Yeah.
part of this game.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think I wish Square Enix had more of a hand in this, to be honest, because it just feels like Crystal Dynamics is doing most of the heavy lifting when it comes to making this game. And I'm sure part of that is the relationship of the two companies, but
Yeah. I will put this
I
out
just feel
here.
like could this game could stand to have a lot more interesting boss fights.
Yeah. I will throw this out there. Square, or Crystal Dynamics is not necessarily known for their multiplayer games, nor their online games.
Right.
They are known for their skills when it comes to story-based games. And I think that
Right.
might have been the biggest mistake they made when they made this Avengers, is making a service. What's it called?
A live service.
Live service. Thank you. Making it a live service game. Because I feel like
Right.
if they had put most of their energy into building an awesome story, even if they had made it a multiplayer story. Even if they had gone like open world or something, I don't know. I think it would have been a little bit better accepted, or not better accepted, but may have turned out better. I don't know. I just know that like the team that they had on it doesn't seem like this is their wheelhouse. So it's kind of, I don't know, it feels odd that that's the direction they went with it. You know what I mean? Like the way I kind of picture it going down, the Square Enix wanted a live service Avengers game, and Crystal Dynamics was put on the game, and it was like, hey, we want a live service game, and that's what they tried to produce. But I don't know. I just don't know that Crystal Dynamics was the right studio for the job.
Right. I think, I don't know. I feel like it's not that they were necessarily a bad choice for this kind of game. Like, they definitely don't have the experience with the live service aspect of the game. But I just feel like Square Enix should have been putting as much resources of their own towards making this game as they possibly could have, because if they would have let Crystal Dynamics, help create the combat and the story for the game, and allow for Square Enix to, put their experience and other aspects of the game in, and help them create like the multiplayer content, and help them with the live service aspect. Like if they would have done it that way, so that it wasn't like so much on Crystal Dynamics, who clearly don't have quite the experience in this field, like the game might be in a much better state,
Yeah.
because
honestly,
there are a lot of the bones of the game are there, and the potential is there. It's just, it feels like they needed a studio working with them that had the experience.
yeah. Well, honestly, that might explain why it feels like two different teams that made the game, multiplayer versus single player. It might have a lot to do with the fact that like Crystal Dynamics has the experience when it comes to multiplayer games, single player, but they don't have the experience for the multiplayer. Or it might actually have been that Square Enix had brought in like other people to work on the live service side of it, and so Crystal Dynamics may have been the primary team when it came to the single player, but then when they switched to that multiplayer, maybe Crystal Dynamics wasn't, like, maybe they brought in some people, and maybe that maybe that's why it feels so different between the two. I don't know. It could, like, I feel like there's a couple different options for why it could feel the way it does, but either way, I think a big part of it is I think there was maybe a lack of experience in it, because I don't specifically know. I just know that something like it definitely felt like there was something off about the multiplayer compared to the single player, and I kind of feel like everything we've just mentioned kind of goes all the way back around to that
Right.
fact.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd also just I'm really interested to see if COVID, you know, doesn't get worse and
Dude, with the way things are going,
the whole situation doesn't get worse. If them getting back to the studio makes a significant difference. But I mean, it's kind of up to people to get vaccinated for that to be a reality.
dude, I have this terrible feeling that COVID is just never going to go away anymore. Or at least never going to be under control. Like, I think we're just going to all die as a result of it. Humanity, whether we die from the actual virus or we murder each other on social friggin' media. I read Ready Player One recently, and I'm reading through Ready Player Two, and there was this line in there that I thought was hilarious. He said something about the fact that he was like, he wrote like, you know the thing about the Great Filter and all that, of like why we haven't found any alien civilizations, and to do this Great Filter. So basically there's this idea in science that says, like, statistically, like based off of everything we understand about the universe, like we should have already been able to find at least one, but potentially 10 to 100 alien civilizations. And and so there was this concern that came about that's like, this doesn't make any sense that we're not running into any. And so they basically there was this idea that came about called the Great Filter, which basically says that like maybe there were other civilizations, and there's this natural, like, you know, there's these different filters that lead to the end of a civilization, whether it's the inability to survive early on as a species, or it's this idea that maybe it has to do with, you know, like maybe later on, like one of the later filters could be nuclear warfare, could be a great filter. Like you develop, like maybe a species develops weapons so great that they end up killing themselves before they can actually, you know, reach this point that there's spacefaring and all that or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's this idea that there's this filter that basically filters out different species at different points. And the common idea, or the common thought, is that the Great Filter that we currently are facing is the nuclear warfare and weapons of mass destruction of any kind that could result in the end of our civilization if, you know, we all decide to kill each other. So in Ready Player One, there was reading this book, there was this line in there where he was talking about, he was like, maybe social media is our Great Filter, and that like maybe we just, like, civilizations develop and then they destroy each other in social media, and that's just like the end of a civilization because it breaks down the, you know, society to the point where it can't function anymore. And like, I thought that was hilarious. Like maybe humans aren't meant to be able to communicate with hundreds to thousands to millions of people at once. And I was like, that's hilarious, but also kind of scary to think about.
Yeah.
But just maybe social media is the thing that kills us all, and is essentially
that's an interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. What's up?
Because basically,
Sorry,
you're good. Maybe because it basically implies that social media leads to the downfall of society as a whole, which inevitably results in the destruction of humanity.
Right.
And I was like, that's interesting, and not like it wasn't meant to be taken seriously, but you know, I studied theology and philosophy for 4 years, so those ideas, when they're introduced, it's like, well, wait, like this is a joke, but this passing joke could actually make kind of a little bit of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already thinking about it, and like,
Yeah.
That's interesting because it very clearly seems to have done some sort of damage on our society, you know?
Yeah.
Like, to the way we interact, to the, you know,
Well, I think the one
Even-
of the more interesting. Sorry, go ahead. I'll let you finish, and I'll say what I was gonna say.
yeah, I mean, even just the way we socialize now, like it definitely deeply affected all of that. And so it's kind of interesting to I always think about social media too and what have been the effects of it and um, I mean it's hard to know but yeah I mean that's interesting thought. I, as far as the filter idea, I don't know. It sounds interesting, but
It's
I
like a
don't know.
fairly, it's one of those like pop science kind of things. Like it's like a popular idea for understanding the universe, kind of like string theory, and that like this
Right.
multiverse um and all that. Like it's one of those things. It's like I'm not saying it's not based off of anything, but I'm saying it's well known and it's basically like this is a very popular thing to think.
Right.
So
Yeah, I mean it's interesting to think about. I think I don't know, it kind of assumes that every civilization operates in the same kind of
well, I
social
definitely
patterns.
doing it justice. I definitely simplified it significantly. It does take into account that
Oh,
there are
gotcha.
different. I simplified it to a large degree, partially because I am playing Avengers right now, and partially because I am not
Right.
like fully like I read very little on it and watched a couple videos of people talking about how it works. But the idea is just that there
Yeah.
are these things that basically eliminate certain civilizations, and humanity has faced them, some of them.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it's accurate. I'm just saying it's an interesting
Yeah.
thing to think about. I also will say, back on the social media thing, I think one thing about social media to keep in mind is like we've only had it for a very short time as a society, and we do not really understand I think the implications that it has on a society fully. Like we've seen damage from it, and we've seen some benefits from it when it comes to global
Oh, yeah.
communication, but we've also seen a lot of damage. And I think in 50 years from now, we will have a way better grasp on how it affects society. Unfortunately, it could be way too late for society as a whole.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not actually saying it's going to destroy society. I just think there's something kind of fascinating about this idea that maybe social media is this thing that's going to end humanity as a whole.
Right.
Why can't
I mean, it's interesting too because we've gotten more civilized as a society in a lot of ways, and we seem to have made forward progress towards, I mean, I guess that's kind of relative, but I mean, there's not as much, there's not as much death from different health issues that would have been, people would have died, like, sanitary issues and different diseases that would kill people regularly, and there's some things that have lessened, but then it's like, how do you really measure progress? What are you using to say that we've progressed as a society? And then
Right.
that's kind of where there's the whole
When I think,
debate.
and I honestly think the way that most people, whether or not this is like the best way to, I think the way most people measure that here in like the Western world is technology. Like how do we fare when it comes to technology?
Right.
our advances, whether, but like the industrial era is considered to be one of the most like rapidly progressing eras of the last a couple hundred years, other than like the last 50 years or so. But like it's considered to be a very like rapid growth in humanity. It's a progression, but also there's a lot of negative side effects that came out of the industrial era.
Right.
Just to name a few, like mistreatment of workers at the time, and like abusive systems that were put into place that took several, like 50 to 100 years to actually take down, or to alter, and even still to today we're affected by some of the damage of the systems that were put in place during the industrial era. But yet we consider it one of like the biggest stages of progression for society and for humanity.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
But
agree in that, like,
yeah.
you got to be careful how you measure progress.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say too that that's because of the Industrial Revolution.
I wasn't saying because, I was saying
Rather-
during like
Yeah, but I'm saying like it's hard to know whether the Industrial Revolution just the issues that came about were just the same issues that we had before, just on a larger scale.
Yeah, and maybe
No.
it's not so much that it created them, but made them in a sense more mainstream, for lack of a better word.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think that it's definitely, I think, not like, I think it's dangerous to measure like our success as a society based off of solely based off of technological advancement. I think in a sense, as a society, we've progressed. Even it took, like, we haven't progressed in certain ways, like the way we view other human beings, until more recently, and even then we still have a long ways to go in some of those areas. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I do need to jump off, so
Alrighty.
very
Well,
much enjoyed
Mhm.
debating not debating, but discussing social issues and philosophical issues with you. We'll have to
Yeah.
get
It was
together
fun.
soon in person.
Yeah, I'm down. Yeah, I mean, we should play the story another time, because, yeah, I want to see your reaction to some of the stuff that I think is pretty cool in the DLC, but
Yeah, I will. I'll let
Yeah.
you know next time I'm going to play the story. It'll probably be sometime this weekend. I just don't know when. So,
alright, cool. Alright, man, well, you have a good night. I'll catch you maybe Saturday.
all right. Yeah. I'll let you know about soccer and all that, and whether or not that works out. So,
Alright, catch you
Mm.
later, dude.
later. Bye.
Bye.
And that also brings me to the end of today's stream. I hope you have enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out some of the videos. I'm going to try to put up like a short, I'll put up like a short video that shows a bunch of clips of what happened during the stream. I'm going to start doing that. Probably going to put up two different versions of it, one that's going to be a minute and one that's going to be around like 5 minutes. So if you miss the stream, you can kind of catch some of the highlights. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed. And this is GeneralTezla signing out.